Okay, in this lesson, we're going to talk about factoring perfect squares. And a perfect square is essentially, what they're saying is if you had the same thing in both parentheses, you could rewrite that as x plus 3 squared. And because it has a squared right there, we consider that to be a perfect square. All right, so we're going to figure out how do we factor. Keep in mind that when you factor, you're going to have the same thing in both parentheses in this lesson. Okay, so both parentheses are going to look exactly the same. And that's only for this lesson. This is not going to be true for everything that we do, just this particular lesson. So if we look at x squared plus 6x plus 9. And we say, let's factor this. Okay, keeping in mind that both of these numbers are going to be exactly the same. So we're looking at what multiplies to 9 and adds up to 6. So again, we know that this number and this number are going to be the same. So what number multiplied by itself will give us 9? And that would be 3. And if I put 3 plus 3, that is also 6. So this is how you would factor to get x plus 3 in both parentheses. Okay. Now, in the con practice, it does get a little tricky. It says something like this: 1 plus 2x plus x squared. And it says, what is one side length of this? All right, they're saying, what is the side length of this if this were if that's what we were looking at, okay? So now, what I would do if I were you is I would just rewrite this so that x squared comes first. Because we haven't really looked at stuff to factor it when it looks like this, when the x squared is the last term. But we do know how to factor it if x squared is the first term. So my recommendation would be to rewrite it like this, and then just do what we've been doing. What times what gives me 1, and what plus what will give me 2. And then you're just going to put that inside those parentheses. This is going to be 1 and 1, and 1 and 1. 1 times 1 is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, so x plus 1 and x plus 1. Now be careful when you have a question like this on the con practices. All they want is one of these put in for the answer. I actually did the con practices, put both of these in as my answer, and got it wrong. So down here when they ask for your answer, all you're going to put is x plus 1 once, because they're looking for the side length only once. Okay, and so basically the side length is x plus 1 here and x plus 1 on this side. And so they just want one length of the side, and that's just x plus 1. Okay, I also ran into a problem that looked like this: 9 minus 6x plus x squared. And again, I don't know how to factor when x squared is the last term. So I'm going to rewrite that as x squared minus 6x plus 9, because the 9 is positive, so it should be a plus 9 there. So again, over here to the side, we're going to say what multiplies to 9, and those same two numbers have to add up to negative 6. And again, keeping in mind that this number and this number have to be the same. You might think 3 and 3, because 3 and 3 multiply to 9. However, when you come down here to add them, 3 plus 3 is positive 6, and we need a negative 6. Remember that this also is true. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. And then when I go put the negatives down here, negative 3 plus negative 3 is negative 6. And so what we have here is x minus 3 and x minus 3. So watch out for that as you are going through the problems. They kind of try and trick you by putting them backwards. Just rewrite them in the same order and then factor it like we normally do. Just be careful. Sometimes they ask for both parentheses, and sometimes they only ask for one. When the problem looks like this with a box and you have your trinomial in here in the middle, that's when they want you just to put one parentheses in. And when they just give it to you like this, the directions will say factor. And then they want both parentheses plugged into the answer. Okay. Anyway, I hope that helped, and good luck on that con practice.